Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Indiana will soon have a new leader in charge of selling the state to the world as the place to locate and grow a business. This week, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb named Hoosier native and longtime Indianapolis business leader Brad Chambers to take charge of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation as the state's new Secretary of Commerce. He is a seasoned business executive and entrepreneur. He founded Buckingham Companies in Indianapolis more than 35 years ago, actually founded the apartment development and real estate investment firm while he was still a student at Indiana University. He'll serve as Secretary of Commerce for a salary of 99 cents. He's a native of Indianapolis, a graduate of IU's Kelley School of Business with a degree in finance. Chambers is taking the leap from the private sector to government at a time when the Indiana economic development situation is really on a roll. In April alone, 3 global brands announced plans to collectively invest around $1 billion and create nearly 3,000 jobs, commitments that are spread around the state. This week, I sat down with Chambers and Governor Holcomb on the top floor of Indiana's tallest building, the Salesforce Tower, to get their take on and their vision as well for investment in jobs and projects around the state now and those in the pipeline. Governor, all senior level hiring decisions are important, but does the Secretary of Commerce position, because of the responsibilities, because it deals directly with investment, with jobs, with the economy, take on maybe special importance?
Absolutely. It rises to the top because without a strong economy, it makes everything else we're charged to administer and carry out that much harder. So the more resources that we have, the more revenue, and we're on a roll right now, a lot of momentum. We went into COVID in a strong position, but we came out of it even stronger in many respects. So the question is, what's next? And that comes down to leadership and why we're here today.
Well, why Brad Chambers, a successful entrepreneur and innovator, been in business here in Indianapolis and around the country really for many years. Why Brad Chambers?
Well, it was a no-brainer, quite frankly. Not only had I seen what he's done over the decades here and around the country, as you mentioned, but he is Mr. Development, and that's what we're trying to do, is develop communities so families can grow and more opportunity is available. So it really is, where do we go from here? And our priorities align through previous conversations. You know, I want to be a leader in the energy transition. Brad has this unique perspective on an entrepreneur economical ecosystem, so to speak, and thinking about raising our wages, thinking about developing communities with this READY program that's now out on the street statewide simultaneously at an unprecedented level. He's been there, done that. Yep. And so bring in Mr. Development, and that's what we got on the mound right now.
Brad, Buckingham Companies, you really started the company before you even graduated from IU, right?
That's
so
true,
apartment
yes.
development, but real estate investment
yes.
In a big way. Give us a thumbnail description of Buckingham.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's an entrepreneur's story, and I was industrious from an early age. Actually, started working when I was 15, 16, and did buy the first real estate property when I was 20. I was a sophomore at IU, and then here we are 37 years later. The lesson that as I look back on that, was not the size, and it was not the management lessons I've had over the years, but the lesson was enjoy what you do, and I loved it. I loved working, and I loved the product that I was working with, and that served me so well, and that it kind of leads us to today. I was so excited, and this job is so exciting for me to work with the governor and his senior team. So to me, it's about what you're doing and enjoying that, and who you're doing it with, and I just couldn't be more excited about this opportunity on both accounts.
As you look at the opportunity before you, your vision, what do you see as maybe some key areas you're going to want to focus on in this new role as Secretary of Commerce?
Well, I do have a unique view as an entrepreneur. I mean, Buckingham started with zero. I mean, it was a literal zero, and maybe it was a negative zero if there is one of those, back in 1984. And so I was actually, Dr. Haberly started the first entrepreneurship club at IU, and I was one of his first classmates in that club, and now it's an entire course of studies. So entrepreneurship is near and dear to my heart, and I think if you look around the city, you know, there is those are sticky jobs, and those are high-paying sticky jobs, and there's no better example of an entrepreneur than looking 125 years ago at Colonel Eli Lilly. he was an entrepreneur, and he started a business that's still around today, generating dynamic economic contributions, high-paying jobs, and contributing to our state's economy. So my view is, starting from an entrepreneurial perspective, and to the governor's point, we really want to solidify, expand, pour some fertilizer on that entrepreneurial ecosystem. That's number one for me.
Yeah. Governor, as you look at what's next for economic development, certainly there have been a flurry of big economic development announcements, Toyota, Apple, Amazon, big names, but also smaller companies around the state as well. What do you see as that next phase coming out of the pandemic for economic development?
Yeah, I think it is making sure that all of our communities are aligned, not just in purpose, but in action. And that's why this Ready Grant is so important and so big. It's a huge opportunity to retain. We talked about sticky jobs. We want sticky students as well. We've always been a powerhouse in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, distribution. We also want to increase the creative class. We want our students that are groomed here and taught here to stay here, because the opportunity for high-wage careers are readily available, and that ecosystem's in place. So we're looking at making sure that border to border, whether it's a small town or a large city, is working in unison, and that's state and local partnerships in place, and addressing any vulnerability, any weakness, to make sure that there is opportunity not just in one part of our state. That's why it's so exciting to see these announcements in West Lafayette or Crawfordsville or Vincennes pop up on the screen, not just in the bigger cities. But we look at this as a company does. They're looking at where is the work shed, where are they going to pull their workers from, and that's a region. So we're taking this regional approach, border to border, statewide, and it's a pretty exciting time to be in the Secretary's shoes.
We will have much more on the $500 million Ready Initiative, statewide economic development, in an extended conversation with incoming Secretary of Commerce Brad Chambers and Governor Holcomb coming up in the next half hour. Stay with us.